Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Fallout 76. My name is Camel, and today I'm going to show you how to easily make Healing Salve, the forest version, and maximize on your production, as Healing Salve is the perfect substitute for stim packs, so this is incredibly handy for lower level players, and even now at level 120 I'm still using this technique. Now if you are into this kind of stuff, links to my other Fallout 76 videos can be found down in the description, along with my social media links. Be sure to check all of that out after this video. Now, just to catch everyone up to speed, a Healing Salve will restore 20% of your character's health. This amount can be increased with the first aid perk, and even though it only says it affects stim packs, it does also increase the amount Healing Salves heal. As we'll see here, without the perk, the Healing Salve will restore 20% of my character's health, but then with rank 1 of the first aid perk, it will now restore 23% of my character's health. That's an increase of 15%, just like the perk card said. Each rank of first aid will increase the healing the salve does by an additional 3%, so rank 2 will give 26% healing and rank 3 will give 29% healing. So essentially, a Healing Salve is a half strength stim pack. It also weighs half as much, making it an excellent substitute for stim packs and much easier to make. Also worth noting that when you hit the hotkey for stim packs, well, this same button will actually also use your Healing Salves, so you won't need to hotkey Healing Salves separately onto your favorites wheel. Now if you are carrying both stim packs and Healing Salves, the stim pack hotkey will automatically consume your Healing Salves before using your stim packs. So if you're out and about and hitting the stim pack button and you notice you are only being healed for 20% at a time, that's because a Healing Salve has been consumed and not a stim pack. So Healing Salve is a great alternative to using stim packs, as most of the time you don't need the full healing effect of a stim pack. And with all that, they are also really easy to make. Now there is a recipe for a Healing Salve for each zone: the Forest, the Mire, the Savage Divide, Toxic Valley, Ash Heap, and the Cranberry Bog. But today I'm just going to be showing you the Forest variant, as it's super easy to make and everyone should have the recipe, as it is rewarded to you for completing the first main quest. It is literally the first quest you get when you leave Vault 76. So if you don't have the Healing Salve Forest recipe, that's on you. It's the quest that ends in the town of Flatwoods after leaving the Overseer's camp. As we'll see here, after completing it, we got the Healing Salve Forest recipe as a guaranteed reward. Once you get it, you'll need to go into your inventory, to the notes section, scroll down to R and to recipe and find it there. Click it to read it and learn it. Everyone should have done this. So now we know how to make it. What do we need to make it? Well, all we need to create a Healing Salve for the Forest is boiled water, Soot Flower, and Bloodleaf. Now these sound easy to find, and they are, as long as you know where to look, as there are huge areas of the forest which house neither Soot Flower or Bloodleaf. All we need to know is where to look. I suggest this route on the map as it's quick and easy. You start at the bridge next to the Overseer's camp and make your way downstream to Flatwoods. Now you can go upriver from Flatwoods to the Overseer's camp if you want, it makes no difference, just be sure to take the pink route highlighted here, as for some reason on the other side of the bridge next to the Overseer's camp no Bloodleaf or Soot Flower spawn. So starting at the bridge and moving down is perfect. Now before we start doing this and picking up all of the plants, I highly recommend using the Green Thumb perk for this. It will double our yield from gathering these plants, which of course means we will literally get double the Healing Salve for the same work, all from one simple little perk, Green Thumb. So I 100% suggest that when you do this, if you are able to, make sure that you have the Green Thumb perk active. Now Aqua Girl / Aqua Boy is another perk I'd suggest having active while doing this. It's not as important, but given we'll be spending a lot of time in, around, and wading through water, it's a super handy perk to completely remove the rats element out of the picture. So once we're all perked up, let's get walking. Now while we splash our way downstream, be sure to pick up all of the Bloodleaf. They are super easy to spot. As we can see, they are these massive red flowers that grow in and around water. Now while frolicking through the stream, keep an eye out for Soot Flower. These indigo colored flowers, they will be peppered in the bushes along the banks of the creek. When we spot one, jump out and grab it. Now I might also suggest that as we do this, to change the camera view to third person. If, like me, you much prefer first person, I would still suggest doing this as it massively increases our field of view by setting the camera well behind our characters. And it also makes our viewpoint higher, so we can see much more of what's around us in third person, which is ideal for spotting and picking up Soot Flower and Bloodleaf. I would also like to make it clear that there are tons of areas all around the map, even outside of the forest, where we can find many Bloodleaf and Soot Flower, so don't feel restrained to this small path that I've shown you. I just find this to be super easy and it does not take long either. So once we've reached the end of the stream, having picked up all the Bloodleaf and Soot Flower that we came across, we'll need to collect some water for boiling. Now, to make 1 boiled water requires 2 dirty water, and dirty water is what we acquire when gathering water from a water pump or from a water source, like a pond or a river. I'd suggest collecting from the river, as you can spam the collect button and do it quickly, unlike the water pump where you have to wait for the pump animation each time. So however much boiled water you need, be sure to collect double that amount in dirty water. And of course, for this particular video and this particular technique, the best place to get the water is the very same stream that we walked down. Now, the problem with collecting dirty water is that we take 5 radiation every time we collect 1 dirty water. So if we're collecting tens or even hundreds of dirty water, this is going to be an issue. A trick for you is to wear the Hazmat Suit while gathering the dirty water. I've got a guide on how to get the Hazmat Suit because you absolutely must have it. It provides 1000 radiation resistance and will now make collecting water the easiest and safest of tasks. Or, if you want to be extra cool, you can check out my guide for getting the uniquely yellow and black skinned prototype Hazmat Suit. Either way, make sure to have some form of rad's resistance, or you're going to have to consume a bunch of Radaway while doing this. Now, you could also take some Rad X before collecting your dirty water to further suppress the radiation received from doing this. So once we are done collecting all of the dirty water that we need to create the correct amount of boiled water to match the number of ingredients we have, namely Soot Flower and Bloodleaf, we'll need to head to a cooking station / stove / cooking pot / insert, whatever you call them. Now, there are a few of these that can be found in Flatwoods, or if you went upstream, we can find one in the Overseer's camp. Anyway, once here, first thing we'll need to do is turn all of that dirty water into half its quantity of boiled water. Now, despite one of the very first quests in Flatwoods being based around learning how to boil water, you don't actually need to do this quest, and you can in fact boil water as soon as you come out of Vault 76. So boiling water, any character can do it at any time. You don't need to finish that boiling water quest. Also worth mentioning that along with 2 dirty water, we'll need 1 unit of wood for each boiled water we plan on making. If you don't have any wood, well, you're in the forest. Go out and pick up some wood by either harvesting logs, piles of already cut wood, or by scrapping most weapons. So once you're good to go, start boiling and spamming that craft button. Once all of that dirty water has been boiled down into boiled water, we can finally get around to making that healing salve. But before we do that, one last super important perk that I would highly recommend you have active while doing this. It's called Chemist, and will double the output of any chems we create, healing salve counting as a chem. So for every set of ingredients, we can make 2 healing salve instead of 1. A perk that is 100% worth picking and having active while doing this. Of course, just take the perk off when you're done making the healing salve. So once that's good to go, select healing salve forest and start creating. Now, my recording broke about 10 seconds into crafting these healing salve, and I also didn't have the chemist perk active in this footage because at the time I didn't even know that perk existed. But in this footage here, we can see that I have the chemist perk active, and there is a ×2 next to the healing salve. And with only 1 set of ingredients, 2 healing salves will be created. So I did this gathering run a few times the first time and ended up with enough resources to make over 150 healing salve from the forest that was without the chemist perk. So with the chemist perk, I was able to do this run once and whip up 88 healing salve in about 5 minutes, which is an absolutely awesome time to reward ratio. Again, 2 most important perks here being the green thumb perk and the chemist perk. If you have both perks active, if you find 10 bloodleaf and 10 soot flower, you can turn those into 40 healing salve. You could make 40 healing salve in a few minutes. just with those 2 perks, the healing equivalent of 20 stim packs in a few minutes. And that is pretty much that, how to super easily make a stack of healing salve a perfect substitute for stim packs, accessible to all players in a matter of minutes. I do hope you get much use out of this, and in a tight situation, I hope that they are able to salve you. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. I've been Camel, and this has been my guide for making the Healing Salve Forest. I do hope this video helped you out, and if it did, you will be very interested in checking out my other Fallout 76 videos that I've already done. Links to them can be found down in the description. Now, down there, in the old description, we can also find links to my social media. Be sure to follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and if you would like to support the channel, be sure to subscribe, or if you want to do it in a more personal way, you can become a heroic patron on Patreon or a sponsor of the channel right here on YouTube. As I'm sure you know, all of my time and energy goes into making these videos that I create for you to enjoy, so your support is most appreciated and welcomed in any and all forms. So thank you very much for watching, thank you for supporting the channel, and I'll see you very shortly in the next video. I'll see you there soon.